Good morning, everybody. It is Friday morning, and I thought I would take you through my arm workout first thing in the morning before I get my makeup on. I just grab a pair of light weights, which are 5 pounds, and then we're going to do this outside, but I just wanted to show you what I do to try to keep my arms toned and I just kind of do this every single morning. So I take my 5-pound dumbbells, and after a little light stretch inside, I will just take them and do a few different moves. Now, I don't remember all the moves for what they're called, but I will just show you what I do. So the first thing I do is I go straight up and straight down, and this is what it looks like on the side. So I kind of come down to a 90-degree angle, and I do 20 of every set. So every exercise that you're going to see me do, I do 20 of those. So the first one is this one, and then the next one, I just move from one into another. So it's kind of like one long, like maybe about 15 minutes of doing this. And then I move right into this one where I kind of like bring them up straight in front of me. I forget what all these are called, but I'm working on my biceps here. And then I bring up my legs too. Sometimes if I can engage my legs safely and I am stable, I will move them so that I get movement all over my body and I'm thoroughly engaged. And so this kind of wakes me up here in the morning. So I'm listening to all these noises outside. And then I stable myself, bend slightly forward, and I bring them out in front like this. And this one really develops a really nice little muscle up in front. And it really has helped me to be able to wear tank tops and sleeveless shirts more confidently this summer. I noticed I was getting a little flabby before the summer, and I started this about a month and a half in. I just felt a lot better, and my hubby has been noticing, saying, gosh, your arms look really toned, they're really coming along. It's amazing. So next I move into this. I'm still bent over here. My back is stabilized. My core is engaged, and I'm bringing them straight up here. This move I learned from Train with Joan when I was using that app. It's a wonderful app if you ever want to download it and to have a personal trainer. It's like having a personal trainer for like $20 a month, or it's like $100 a year, which is a killer deal for what you get. I mean, you get nutrition guidance and you get a workout guidance, and you can pick the level of your workout, and she's right there with you the whole time. It's really a great app. So I might actually go back to using it. Actually, I miss her recipes. So I do this for 20 times again, each one, really engage myself. And the one thing that I've noticed is that coming up is great, but the real work is in lowering slowly. And that's one thing that I learned in weightlifting, is that coming down slowly is really, where a lot of that work happens. So I'm going to bend a little bit slightly forward here, make sure my back is straight, and then I'm going to work on some triceps here. And if I have a bench, I will bend down much farther and support myself and bring them up much more, but I'm not working with the bench here. Okay, so the next one I go into is just straight up, lift overhead, and I'll do 20 of those. And then I will engage my hips, because the muscles that are on the side of your hips, they can really go into, for me, they get really sore and they get really tight. And walking backwards in a safe way, in a safe place, and moving your hips side to side, or just even stepping side to side, I've learned really opens those up and really can take the soreness off of your hips. Now I'm going to turn to show you what I'm doing. I'm just still working on my triceps, and I'm just bringing them straight down. My elbows are pointing straight up, and I keep them that way while I bring the dumbbells down together behind me. And I will do this for 20 times each as well. So I notice when I work out in the morning and I do these things, it does take away my hunger. And again, when I do these things, if I can stably engage my hips and, kick side to side, I will do that just to make sure my hip muscles are really loose. Okay, so next I go right into bringing them up front here. And, my brain is just not working to tell you all the muscles that I'm working and what these moves are called. But I thought I would show you. These are what I do. And I'll do 20 of these. And then from here, what I'm going to do is really stable myself, bend my legs just a little bit. I really got to keep my back straight especially in doing this. And this is almost kind of like a kettlebell swing, and I just bring them up straight in front of my body. I do love using the kettlebell. I have many of them, but I really haven't used them for a while. And I think I need to get back into the gym and use the heavier weights. I did stay away from it for a while because I had my knee surgery and I really couldn't do that. I really couldn't do those moves. But now I'm feeling much better, and I better get in there because I'm having another surgery in October, and I really will probably not be able to do much until after the holidays. And so I'm going to kind of be using the light weights again then. All right, one of the last things I do is I really try to work on my balance. And so I will take these light weights. It's kind of harder to do it with the heavier weights. And then I'll just kind of try to make a kind of like a straight line with my body if I can. And then bring these up. And I'm working on the knee that I had surgery on, so it's a little hard, but keeping my balance. Balance is something you really need to work on as you get older. I wouldn't do this unless you feel confident in it. And I probably wouldn't do it next to a pool in case you fell. But you don't want to even try it if you're not ready, I don't think. But I'll just end with some of these. And what I ended up doing was I added 20 push-ups to all of this, but I will do that when I get inside on the carpet. I killed a scorpion outside this morning, and I'm a little freaked out about looking for other bugs. So I live in the desert, and this is the time of year that they come out. All right, before I go upstairs and get ready, I'm going to set my little oven here at 350, and I'm going to put a little breakfast cake, so to speak, into the oven to cook. And so let me show you what that's going to look like. All right, I am making the Engine 2 blueberry dumpster fire. It's a dessert, but to me it looks more like breakfast. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I have 2/3 cup of whole wheat pastry flour, and here I have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. I have 2/3 cup of unsweetened almond milk here, and 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 3 tablespoons of real maple syrup added in here for sweetener, and I'm going to be using 2 cups of blueberries. So I have an 8-inch square pan, and I'm just going to cover it with some parchment paper. That way we don't need to grease it with oil or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the dry ingredients to another, and I'm going to stir that up really well. And then what I'm going to do is add the wet into the dry, mix it up, and then I'm going to pour it in and then put the blueberries on top. Pretty simple. I'm going to just do this all one-handed, and I think I should use a bigger bowl to mix it in. It always feels weird to me when I make something that doesn't have, I wonder if I should use a whisk. Let me grab a whisk real quick here. When I bake something and I don't put eggs in it, sometimes it feels odd to me, but I guess the baking powder is going to kick in, and then it'll be able to expand. Now, the recipe says it's going to be pretty runny. I'm going to put the recipe in the description bar below in case you want to try it yourself. Pretty easy. I will figure out the points, the Weight Watchers, and I will list that as well. All right, now here comes the fun of just tossing those blueberries in on top. And we're going to bake this in the 350 oven for 45 minutes or until it's browned. figure out how big the pieces are and how many it serves. I'm starting to drop these. This looks pretty good. And I'll probably have it, I'll figure out what else I'm going to have it with. Probably some egg whites this morning. So we're going to change that to 45. Oops, I changed that to 340. I think 350. Okay. Here it is. Now this is supposed to be more of a cobbler, and I figured it out. I put it in my tracker. You get 6 servings out of this, which are some pretty good square servings if it comes out as a square, because it's a little soft. And they are 3 points each. So there's that. Hi everybody, happy Friday. I hope you're gonna have a wonderful weekend. I wanna encourage you as we move into the weekend to stay focused. Tonight we have a barbecue to go to. It's kind of like a fall kickoff event for our homeschool group, because we homeschool, and I signed up to bring a fruit tray and a veggie tray. So hopefully that will help to keep me focused and keep my plate full of all the freebies and the things that I can enjoy without having the extra worry, and getting the plenty of fiber at the same time, and vitamins, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about metabolism, because there's a lot to ponder here. Let me tell you a really quick little story. Many years ago, I worked with another woman who was about 10 years older than me. And at the time that we worked together, she, I believe, was just maybe starting to enter perimenopause. And so she was noticing some things going on with her body. And I had, at the time, wasn't in menopause at all. Now, fast forward to the time that we met, and it had been 10 years since we'd worked together, and we met for lunch. By this time, she had been through menopause. Her life had changed a lot. She had gotten remarried at the time we worked together. She wasn't married at the time. And she had also retired, moving into retirement. So when we sat down and we had lunch, we met at the Claim Jumper at the time, and I had this really big salad, and I had all these requests because at the time I was a raw vegan. So I was 100% totally raw food, plant-based, and I had lost a lot of weight, and I had gone from like a size 11, 12 down to a 2, believe it or not. And it was a very short span of months where I actually maintained that weight, and I saw that it was really hard to sustain that weight, eating that way for me at the time. And I ended up changing, but so I was like a 2 at the time. And at the time that we met and we were having lunch, I had noticed that she had made a comment about her weight, because she was always really thin as a rail. I mean, just very svelte her whole life. And she had put on some thickness, and she had mostly around the middle. And she made a comment about that. We weren't talking about weight or anything like that, but I think maybe it bothered her a little bit. And she mentions a phrase that I've never forgotten. She said, "Now that I'm in my mature body, da 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 da." And I thought, my mature body, because to me, she was saying, things have changed, and I just need to kind of like go with it, because there's really nothing else I can do about this. And so that stuck with me, because I went through menopause, and I noticed that, once your estrogen starts sputtering out from being made in your ovaries, your body says, hey, I need estrogen. I know how to make it. I'm going to stick some fat around the middle. I'm going to make it thick, and that fat is going to produce estrogen for me. And that is exactly what I saw happen to me. So all my life, I really didn't have that kind of an issue. And I saw that I was gaining around the middle no matter how much I exercised, and I was trying to eat right. I just could not, this thickness around the middle was just, it was doing what it wanted to do. So at the time, I was not on bioidentical hormones. I was on nothing at all. And I was just letting my body do its thing. And that's what it was doing. So I think here we have that kind of weight gain, I think, is different than metabolism. And I think I went years with having those two, as many of us do, I think, having those two together and intertwine that thought. On one end, I think there is a metabolism issue going on because there's definitely some hormone imbalances that are happening. And then there's the subject of metabolism, which is separate from the hormones. Can one affect another? That's a whole different issue. I don't want to get into that now. I'm not a specialist in that regard to be able to really do that. But I think what I'm finally seeing is that those are two separate issues, and I've had them kind of squished together all this time. Now let's fast forward to, I had a coffee with a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, about a month ago. And she had mentioned something about, all right, so while I was visiting with my friend, she had mentioned to me, now her son is like her personal trainer, and he knows a lot about health, and he keeps her up on a lot of his findings. And she had mentioned to me that he told her that metabolism doesn't really slow down. It pretty much stays the same, but your movement and your eating habits change. And that's why people gain weight as they get older. And whenever somebody tells me something that I'm just like, I don't know about that, I don't like to put up a wall. I want to find out for myself, is this really true? Because something's either true or it's not true, right? And I want to know as much about this as possible. I am thankful for her for sharing that information. So it gave me kind of the beginning of a hunt to go on, right? And so I wanted to find out for myself. And so I'm looking around because I'm thinking, this is what we all say, oh, my metabolism is just like nothing, right? Because we've heard of that before. It's going to go down 10% every year from, I think the consensus was about 30 or so. And then we're going to end up with like nothing, right? And that's what I had run across, that kind of information. And that's very disparaging to hear that. So I wanted to know about this. I wanted to know, does it really slow down or does it not? And again, I think the estrogen subject is a totally different subject. And so I did some digging. And I went to a source that I really trust. Dr. Spencer Nadolsky is a doctor that I have followed for a very long time. I've got one of his books on weight loss, and it is just full of wonderful, wonderful information. I follow him on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube, and he has so much good information. Now, he is an obesity and lipid specialist, so that's all he does is work with people to lose weight in many different ways, and he has such great information. So I thought, you know what is he going to say about this? Let me look into this and see if he's ever addressed this issue. And I found that he did have a post that he made on Facebook, and it was back in August of 2021, and it was about this issue. And he had brought out that, yes, there was a study done, and this is pretty recent because this is like 2 years ago, within the last 2 years, that and this study, it was an international study done by all kinds of, scientists from all over the world. And it was published in Science magazine, a peer-reviewed journal. They took 6,500 people from 29 countries from 8 days old to 95 years old. I need my glasses. Sorry about the glare. And they found that until after 60, it declines. Yes, after 60. But from 20 to 60, your metabolism holds steady. After 60, it only declines by 0.7% per year. that's not a whole lot. And then so his advice was to hold on to your muscle, stay active, and realize that our diets are basically the culprit for our weight gain. Whether directly under our control or not, it is diet controlled and diet related. And that, for reading that from him, somebody that I've followed for a while, that just opened the door. Then I poured myself into looking and looking and looking. And then, yes, I constantly run across Harvard, Duke University, just one after another, citing this study. Now, I'm having a really hard time actually finding the link to the actual study, but the sources that are citing this are very trustworthy sources, right? And okay, game changer, a brain explosion moment. And so that puts it back on me. Although, yes, I do still believe that there could be a hormonal issue that's happening that maybe can slightly add to this. But metabolism stays steady until 60 and doesn't seem to go down at all based on metabolism every year after that. So I'm thinking that puts all of the responsibility back on my movement and on what I put in my mouth. That is a real big game changer, guys. It's a very big game changer. And it puts all the responsibility back up in your face, right? And in my face. So I'm processing this today. I haven't told Honey this news because we were both of the same mind that can't possibly be true. And now, I'm going to really be looking at this really hard, And so looking back at my friend, let's go way back to the lunch that I had with my friend and the one that said that she was now in her mature body. There were some life changes that happened to her. She, before she got married again and retired, she was working out. She went to the gym a lot. She told me that she was very particular about what she ate. Now, the person that she ended up marrying was a bit of a foodie, and he loved to go out to eat, and she loves to be with him. So do the math on that. Perhaps maybe the lifestyle changed enough that she became changed in her body and she put on some weight. It's not hard to put on weight when you are with someone who loves to eat and your activity changes, you know what I mean, because of due to life. Right now, I have 3 young ones at home. I spend a lot of time sitting in homeschooling, and I really have to fight to get on the treadmill, to go for a walk, to do these exercises, to do. And yes, my whole family loves to eat out, and they love to eat, period. And so it is a huge tight wire balancing act to stay above any sort of weight gain for me. So that's it. But it is, nevertheless, the ball is in my court, and I need to do with it what I need to do. I need to be responsible, and I need to stay focused. So let me know what you feel about all of that information. Is that new to you? Is that a game changer? Did you already know that? And how do you feel about that? I love hearing what you guys have to say. You're so wonderful. Everybody's so respectful, and everybody always has such intelligent and wonderful things to share. So I'm going to let you go for now. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Again, guys, stay focused. The ball is apparently in our court, according to all of these international scientists. So do with it what you will. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.